All right. Recording starting. Switching over to caster mode for the bestest of the bestest. Here we go. Game number 3 of the finals of the Low Elo Legends bottom bracket. That is 1100 or less Elo for these players, if my memory serves me correctly. In the yellow, playing as the Ubids, we've got Vladyr. And no, I'm not going to do the zoom in twist thing. I think that's one of the dumbest things I've ever done in StarCraft. And over in the purple, we've got ourselves playing the Byzantines. Bigglestine, one of my favorite users. Although I like Vladyr as well. I am a little bit sick, though, of the Byzantines always being purple. Does the game automatically do that, or do these players just really like being purple? I understand that's the Byzantine color, but, you know, it'd be kind of nice if we had a few people shake up the colors a little bit. We've casted a fair few Byzantines, and only when they're a mirror matchup have they ever not had a purple Byzantine. But alright, we're going to see whether or not if Bigglestine is able to take down Vladyr without playing the Malians. Right now, their record between each other is 2-1 on the day. The one victory was the last game. This is a best of 3. Vladyr candidly beat Bigglestine the first 2 times they met. First time being in the Swiss stage. Second time was the first game of this series, which I think gave Vladyr the confidence to allow Bigglestine to play the Malians again. And Bigglestine basically finally was wise to what Vladyr was doing and decided to basically just mess with his head a little bit. And that little bit of a mess, I mean, it did some damage. And it didn't do damage in the sense of units lost. It did damage in the sense that it just kind of ruined Vladyr's tempo that he normally was playing against Bigglestine. And once that was messed up, Bigglestine had the opportunity to use his superior economics, which is something that was the case in the first 2 games that they played, was that Bigglestine was really good at building an economy. What he wasn't good at was dealing with the severity of Vladyr. Now, Vladyr has not played a Ubids against Bigglestine. He's played Japanese, which he won 1 and lost 1 with the Japanese. And then he played, oh man, I can't think. Who was he playing in the first game? He's using the early knights. Oh, great. Now I can't even think of who it was. But he basically was on a feudal tech using early knights pretty non-stop, and eventually overtook Bigglestine. I will at some point, it's going to pop into my head, the faction that he was playing. I can picture what they look like, but I am still a noob at Age of Empires 4. Probably always will be. I'm a casual player. I'm in my 30s. I play for fun, but I enjoy watching people who play for keeps. That's what I truly enjoy. And low elo, I mean, there's some enjoyable games. You know, if you're not bothering to harp too harshly on, you know, comparing them to pros and such, I think there's a lot of enjoyable close matches that can come from us. And that's what we're doing here. I mean, it was a best of 3 and it went the distance. I mean, you wouldn't have guessed that with the first 2 games these two played against each other. Vladyr just kind of had Bigglestine's number. And then the third time they met, which was the second game of the series, kind of saying too many numbers, but Bigglestine, you know, hit him with that haymaker. He finally, you know, he was a little bit of a Ali reference, you know, dancing with his feet and just bam. I think it's actually a pretty decent metaphor, honestly, that last game. He was just kind of distracted. Vladyr confused him, and by the time Vladyr started to get into his tempo, it was already too late. Bigglestine's economy was too strong. Vladyr was doing a good job on his defense, but I think... Oh, here we go. And the harassment's starting. One scout. One horseman trying to deny some more of the gold. See, Bigglestine, he's an adapting player. I'll give him that. But since he's not playing Malians, though... Oh, he does have them. Oh, I didn't even bother to pay attention to the geography here. We do have the large veins at the bases. Bigglestine's gold income is definitely going to be a lot lower. However, he is against the Ayuvid, so I'm very curious what Vladyr is going to end up doing. But what I was about to say when Bigglestine came in for some harassment was that I found that Vladyr, his defense was actually really good in that last game. Like, I think he had a very intelligent defense created, but it kind of was almost an overreaction to Bigglestine. Bigglestine was trying, was just poking him. And I think Vladyr wasn't aware that that's really the extent of it. And because of that, I think that overcommitment to the defense stopped him from developing as quickly as he did in previous games and put the aggression on his opponent as early as he did in previous games. So, let's see what they end up doing here. This is a much more open map, though, than the previous game. The previous game had some natural choke points in it, so there's a lot of things that are different about this game. Oh, there's the horseman. Send that boy home. Wait, Triumph heals them also? I'm a little confused. Once again, noob here. Just trying to figure out. No, I don't see that. Because I know the one landmark that lets them drink to heal. Why are they healing? Oh, yep, and health regeneration by 2. Well, you know, sometimes reading is hard. There's a lot of numbers there, you know, I just got confused. You know, I was like, oh man, how do I take the derivative? Plus, minus, you know. Very confusing. Bringing in some archers. I think that's anticipation of spear, which is correct. Wow. Yeah, that scout bonus is crazy with the Byzantine. Look at that forge damage. Does it show it when you have one here? 16. Is that with the bonus for having a scout? Oh, wow, the scout is plus 10 on its forge. Wow, that is pretty big. I mean, this is the player who has the level 15 mastery Byzantine on his town center, which I was about to go take a look at, but we should probably stay focused on this because this is pretty important right here. Yeah, it's a pretty big commitment. He's on food and wood, and that's it. He has a tiny amount of gold, and obviously denying it from his opponent, but he's clearly not trying to head towards Castle Age. He's trying to just put the pressure on. Really needs to run that horseman. Yep. What do we have here? Ooh, I didn't even notice that he actually got supply block there. And there goes a mill. Okay. Couple spearmen getting on there. One more horseman goes down. Another one's pretty injured. That burnt to the ground. Avoidable, but that's okay. It's just a mill. That's 50 lumber. One thing he has going right now is wood production. Archer's coming in for the harassment on the lumber. He's got no real answer over here. I mean, the spearmen aren't. See, is he gonna micro? Stutter step? Yeah, little stutter step. Another spearman down. Every unit counts right now. Oh, Archer's going a little too close, though. 2 archers going down. See, every one of these units, the reason why I'm having a little bit of emphasis here is that they really do matter. They matter a lot. If you're going to try and contain your opponent like this. A couple archers can seem like no big deal until you realize what 2 additional arrow coming into every single volley can do to a line of spearmen or to a villager line. That horseman shouldn't have been there. Besides that. It's definitely tense, Vladyr. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a little bit nervous at the moment. And I don't mean that in the sense of like, oh, you know, high stakes or anything, but more so, this is somebody who he seemed to have the number of. And then that last game just snowballed out of control. And this one, it seems like he had some kind of plan for why he must have picked the units. That's one of the 2 options. He had some kind of plan. Don't know what it is. Game's not over. But this game is not really using any cliches because it's really not that serious of a scenario. For how close it is, how it's balanced. But it's definitely not looking good. It's definitely not looking good, but if he can survive this harassment, he can maybe show us what the unit can actually do. We have stables. He's getting a horseman now. Ooh, and he actually taps out right there. He was sick of it. It was too much. Yeah, I think that was also just not a good map for what he was probably trying to do there, because that map, very open. Villagers are very exposed. Each of his resources were in different quadrants of his town center. Very difficult to defend that against somebody who is using so many horsemen to harass you, and then adding on the archers to continue to poke from a distance, and of course countering the inevitable spearmen that were coming. I am curious though what Vladyr was thinking by choosing to go a Ubits there, because we'd only seen him play Japanese, and oh my goodness, I can't think of what the other one was that he played, but it definitely wasn't a Ubits. And now I'm like doubting myself. Was it the Ubits? No. Oh, I can't think of what it was. But either way, this is just surprising to actually see it go this way. I mean, the pressure was put on. He didn't see it coming. There's not a whole lot to really dissect, I feel like, from this one. It was, I mean, you can see, I mean, total resources is probably a bad metric because it means you're not spending them. But I kind of used that earlier, and that probably wasn't the best. But you can see economy-wise, you know, he was up there and started to lose him, because it's basically going to be your villager counts. But I think he just really was not expecting that much pressure. Well, that was a good match. Good job by Bigglestine. We'll stop the recording there.